the ladies in the family have told us that they would like to go ahead with HB.
Go ahead with the case.
Go ahead with the case.
Move on.
Give you a letter, whatever it takes after this, and satisfy the neighbors to the same thing legally. But we have to go ahead with it now because of our contract.
Okay. And we could not accept any written agreement on that.
Yeah,
The
there'll be a
zoning
site
goes with the
plan
land.
That'll be approved.
Right.
Go for it.
Okay. 5-minute rebuttal for the people in opposition, if anyone wants to speak. 5-minute total now, not 5 minutes each.
That's the way we took it, Mayor.
We ain't got all night.
The only people that you have standing before you in favor of this are the people who don't live in Stokesdale and want to start a business in our area. A couple of you here, they're also in opposition, and we have many, many more people in this area that have written you emails and asked you not to do this. We want this to stay a part of our community. There are opportunities, and we're not saying don't develop Stokesdale. There are certainly opportunities, just not in the middle of an area that is surrounded by neighborhoods and homes and people, and that has a dangerous highway right in front of it. There is a property, as I mentioned before, but it's $1 million, but it's for 10 acres. They would pay a lot more, but they should, because it's in a business district. There's business districts off of 158. They want to go here because it's cheaper, because it is not zoned for that. It is not meant for that. You don't want, the first thing people see when they drive into Stokesdale is a storage unit on the side of the road. Those are the reasons you don't want to see it, but you're also going against your Planning and Zoning Board and the recommendations of Guilford County, which are laid out, whether you like them or not, they are laid out that way, and you would be changing that. Keep Stokesdale a wonderful neighborhood, keep 68 Corridor nice and looking as it should. And you're right, if you pass this tonight, anything could go in there. And we don't want just any business to go on Highway 68 right there. It could be something that brings in a lot more traffic than that. And then there could be a fatality on that road, and I can promise it'll come back to this meeting and say, why did they make that a business? Because that area shouldn't have been a business. You don't want that on your heads if that happens.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mayor, I'm good.
Okay.
He's learning his way.
His wife also.
What is the point in having a plan if we don't follow the plan and we change it every time there's something outside of it? If you need to rewrite the plan, power the people, let's do it. But it doesn't make sense to me to change it every time something's outside the plan that somebody wants.
Okay. Darren, I believe, or someone on the council had a question for, I think it was Mr. Little or someone. Did you have a question before I close the public?
I asked him about the property amount, how long they
Okay.
had the property.
Okay, that's okay.
That's what I was
Okay.
understand.
I'm going to close the public portion of the hearing and matter rest with council.
Let's not all speak at once here.
Well,
I'll reiterate,
Okay.
once again, your only consideration is, should this parcel be HB, not any particular use of that parcel, regardless of any promises by the petitioner. So that's what you have to consider.
Go.
All right. Well, I'll start. My name is Derek Foy. First, Mr. Little and Bryce, I want to thank you, for putting together, I think, what is a great project. It's evident that you spent a tremendous amount of time on that. It's evident that you've operated a successful business for many years. I think you obviously conduct yourselves professionally, and I think gentlemen like you, would be great for Stokesdale and for business. I've heard the comment mentioned that we already have 2 storage units in town, and we don't need more. And while that is true that we need 2, and I don't know if we need more or if we don't. I don't think it's government's place to put a cap or put a ceiling on the number of businesses you have. I do trust that you've done a business plan, and that if you feel that that business plan is profitable, that you invest and you proceed. You know, with having said that, I kind of tend to gravitate to what I do see is maybe 3.5 facts on this case. With fact number one being that our town planner staff did recommend denial here because it was not consistent with fact number two, not consistent with the land use plan. Also, fact number three is that our planning and zoning board, which is an advisory board to the town council, did vote 4-1 to deny this, council to recommend to cancel to denying this plan. And then, what I'll call kind of the half fact is traffic. A lot of people, a lot of folks claiming that the traffic, that it's unsafe. And, it's hard to speak to data, in the absence of data. I think you did a good job bringing, data to council with the number of cars that travel there. But I also travel on that road daily, multiple times a day. And it truly is unsafe there. When you are going down that hill at 50 miles per hour, stopping a pickup truck that is carrying a trailer full of material that might be taking a right down that hill, that's a hard stop and could easily, in my opinion, be misjudged. And you've got speed, gravity, and really only just one lane to get out of the way. It really is a tough decision because the project was so well put together, presented together, and what gentleman you are. I think, Bryce, you have a tremendous mentor an opportunity to work with your grandfather. Soak that up. You're going to learn so much. I'm jealous. I'll just say, I guess council has a decision to make tonight. We've got two choices to either deny or recommend or approve. When you look beyond that and peel that back, I think I kind of look at the outcomes of those choices. So, one of the outcomes would be that if council approves it, that you go on and build your project, but also that area of 68, it does open up a can of worms to develop that area of 68. And I don't believe that is in the best interest of the town, and it does go against our land use plan. Again, the safety of the road. I mean, it took years for the DOT to fix that disaster down at East Harrell Road at the bottom of that hill. And hell, when they fixed it, they created a worse problem when you were coming north on 68. Now, they did go back and finally fix that after the fact, but that was a challenge. And then talking about another outcome would be is if we were to approve it and those in opposition were to choose to litigate and hire and contest it in Superior Court. To me, this looks an awful lot like spot zoning, given what's zoned around it, the land use plan, and in my opinion, admittingly without having the experience, but in my opinion, I think a judge would overrule that. In my humble opinion, I don't have any. I'm not an attorney, anything like that. It's just what I see when you look at the definition of spot zoning. And then the third outcome is that, council deny the zoning request, and, we stick with our land use plan. But I can't say how impressed I am with you guys and the project, having your family here. And I'm going to vote no on it, but I certainly appreciate y'all and wish you well.
I want to make a comment. About 3 months ago, I can't remember the exact date, we changed the permitted use on a property very similar to this, very close on the more north of this, that allowed mini storage. Mini storage, in my opinion, and the way the original land use plan was for industrial zoning. And our industrial zoning corridor in that long-range plan was on Highway 158 from, say, the school to 220. I think we made a terrible mistake when we allowed mini storage in commercial zoning. I think that once you do that, you're open Pandora's box. And obviously, there's a market for mini storage. And until we change that back to where mini storage facilities are not allowed in commercial zoning, we're just going to get these cases day in, day out. And it's going to be hard to justify we did one and we didn't give the same man, in a different person the same consideration. So I think we need to make that change as soon as we possibly can to take that out of a permitted use on commercial zone. Now, in terms of the use on that property, it's probably not feasible that that property is going to remain agricultural too many more years. No one's farming. The property values of agricultural zoning is not nearly as much as a commercial or one for an office or, some kind of different uses. But the perfect kind of zoning on that is a conditional use where they limit the uses on it. We're going to put a doctor's office or a dentist's office or something that would be acceptable to the neighborhood. We can't control what people do with their property. We can only hear the cases and base it on our best judgment and what we think is the best for Stokesdale. But I'm having a hard time on this one. I tell you, I'll vote against it, but that's all I got to say.
Well, you're gonna say something? Go ahead.
Oh,
No.
We'll be through deciding in a second, all right. As the mayor stated, a few months ago, we took a piece of property that lived right beside a lady on one side, going south, and the commercial on the other, starting at the tire place and then the other places down to the service station. And we changed that so that that individual who had requested that is able to put up a storage building on the other side. In other words, instead of having it on the food line side, it's already been approved on the other side, on the north side, on the same area. So my main concern is, how do we do one and tell the other one no? Flat out. We are a town. We have financial issues that we are responsible for presenting and taking care of. The town did have, back before my time in this seat, a very large lawsuit because it was an almost identical situation. Had a landfill here, next people wanted one, and they were denied. All they did say, there's the other one, and it went to court. And it cost us around $10,000 cash. That was long before. Now, as all of us know that live in this town, we have one property tax in this county. We do not have a town tax out of 15 municipalities, and pretty much I think that's what it is, Mr. Bass. About 15 within the county. Municipalities, small and large, it comes out to about that. I think we're only one of two out of all of those that does not have a property tax. So every bit of money that we get in this town, regardless of what we use it for, is directly out of federal, state, local, county, and also other fees for cable vision, things like that. So my main concern is, how are you going to give this person one, how are you going to say you can build a 2-story facility next to a farm with a lady that's been there 80 years, but yet you can't go across the intersection and say, ain't no way it's going to happen. And that's the problem. For me, why did it start like that to begin with? Why was it brought up to redo when it had been signs out there for years, and also what we had been told years back that it was going to be medical and or dental or a health facility? Never came to that. never got used for that. Rezoned, and there is your center for storage. This man goes down the street on the other side of equal distance, and he's not allowed to have one. I don't want to be standing in front of a superior court judge having to sit there and tell that man, tell that judge and that jury that it's only fair on one side of the street, literally and figuratively. And it's not, we understand everybody's property rights. We're very fortunate to have a property right town. At this point, 20 years from now, it may be dictated by the county. So that's my concern that possibly you all had no clue about. 90 days ago, we got one and gave it. 90 days later, we're denying it to another party and expecting it not to have any repercussions.
Jimmy?
Folks that's against it, I don't blame you, especially the two folks that have property backed up to it. I can understand that. I've been in town a long time. I rode my bicycle up and down 60. I know people do it now on these tight bridges and stuff. I don't get on the road anymore, but I'm scared to because of all the traffic. And I was here when it wasn't a whole lot of people, going up and down the roads. It wasn't a lot of developments and stuff. I was never against a development. I've always been a property rights person. Glad to see anybody that wants to, not saying I wish that the developments weren't here, because, matter of fact, most of the people I know now live in the developments. They're great people. But as Darren just mentioned, we did this just right up the street. I stated it's right around 1,200 feet. I know all the people that's around there, on both sides, in the front, and the town did that. We're twice the distance from the property, from a commercial property. They're like 1,200 feet from a commercial property. This is 600, and I forget the number, 620 some feet to the property that the group that owns the food line has. It's going to be, unless you guys, somebody gets together and goes in there and buys that and does something with it and puts it residential, it'll be commercial. That's a commercial node right there. And they just put that little spot on the map years ago, and it's been developed. Like I said, that's agriculture at the golf course. That's another thing. The golf course, I used to love that golf course, and they put houses there, and I guess their intent is to put commercial, up there, even though it's not been zoned. I can't, although I understand, I can't justify myself voting against this when I just voted for, when I know all the people, and, I'm sure they would like to left Stokesdale like it was in 1973.
Did they oppose? Did you have a bunch of people opposing that?
No, those folks won't oppose it.
So there was no opposition?
No, what I'm saying, they might not like it, but they wouldn't come up here and oppose it. It's just, I'm just saying, I'm not saying anything bad about y'all doing it. I appreciate you doing it.
I'm wondering if there was the same amount of opposition, because you've got many
Well, I understand.
constituents opposing this one.
Yeah.
And if no one showed up for that one,
Well,
that should matter.
I know I'm not gonna get any votes for my position. I'm not worried about getting votes. I'm just thinking on what's right in my mind. You got a lot of agricultural property, and I think y'all are gonna prevail tonight, it looks like. There's a lot of agricultural property in this town that hadn't had a chance to get zoned. I mean, I used to fish right in the middle of y'all's development years ago. I don't get to fish there anymore. That's y'all's property.
Are you voting on the facts of the state, or are you voting on what you voted on previously? Is this just?
No, I'm voting just like everybody else. I'm taking the information in, and I know that
With all due respect,
Wait a minute, the
this is
matters
the
with council.
opportunity for them to talk amongst
Yeah.
themselves,
Yeah.
not with the
Yeah.
audience.
But I will.
let's-
I will finish.
Just their
I'm
thoughts.
taking I'm taking what information that I've gotten, and I know how the land use plan is more of a land use suggestion. And when it does get changed, I mean, when there's a vote, it has to be changed. It's changed afterward. It's done time and time again in Stokesdale. It's been done that way. A lot of commercial property's been done that way. And I'm not going to say that's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. I just know that's been done that way. And like I say, you're probably going to prevail. I'm just speaking from the heart and just telling you how I feel. That's why this isn't done on a computer. You know, you could do it on a computer. The state's actually, was trying to take this away from the towns. So all I can say is that whether this goes in tonight or it doesn't go in, you folks, if you live there long enough, I've been there a long time, family a long time, you're gonna see a lot of changes on 68, and it'll be done. You know, these big development companies and, that they'll get this stuff through. I mean, I've seen it, and, I hate it. I don't want I'd like Stokesdale to be ruled like it used to with the train going through, but it's just, I just don't feel like it's gonna be that way.
Mr. Rigsby, you have any comment?
I'll keep it very simple and brief. I put a lot of stock in the opinions of those that live in the town because it's their town, and they guide, you know, they guide our town by voting for us and putting confidence in us to make these decisions. And while I have nothing against self-storage in general, I do lean toward it would be better served more north in the industrial area.
Jim, remember this, not mini storage, just get anything in the list of permitted use in highway business.
So, but that's all I want to say is I try to make a balance of everything that's going on and who's in opposition, who's in favor, each of them's argument. And it really comes down to, like you said, what's best for the town of Stokesdale, and that's why I base my decision on.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I would like to clear something up that we were talking about. John, I think you brought up the area, the storage units that were approved roughly 6 months ago, north of there. That property was already zoned commercial, so we added one use. In addition, it was conditionally zoned commercial, where I think it could be a dentist office, other professional offices, and we voted to add one additional use, and that was storage units. I have nothing against storage units. If you were making the same request tonight, if you owned a piece of commercial or were looking at a piece of commercial land and wanted to add a use, one use of storage units, that's different than what we did 6 months ago. But this is a complete rezoning in a different agricultural area. So that's nothing against storage units. What we did six months ago.
But the end result of that was that was a conditional use zoning. Doctor's office, dentist's office, a few listed items, just like we had suggested to him that he could do if he wanted to limit it to mini storage. And what the owner of the property did is come in, I want to put mini storage in a commercial development, in a commercial zone, and say, well, I want you to amend your permitted use table to allow that. So when you did it, you were just basically saying, yeah, go ahead. That property was represented to the neighborhood, that it was going to be a doctor's office or a dentist's office, and we completely changed the use of that property, and I thought that was a mistake. I voted against it. I'd vote against it today, tomorrow, and every day of the week. But, that did set a precedent, but it's a difficult decision. I still think we need to go back and address the permitted use and not allow mini storage in a commercial. I think that's an industrial use. That's a warehouse.
Why haven't you made that proposal in the past then?
Well, I talked myself blue in the face trying to get you guys to understand it. You outvoted me 3-2. So, I told you at the time, you're going to open the floodgate, and that's exactly what we're going to do. No, and if we don't change it, you're going to get a lot more. But that's irrelevant tonight.
I don't have a problem with mini storage.
I don't want them I want them in an industrial area.
By the way, when they did that zoning up there, they had to change the zoning map. The first zoning, the zoning map had to be changed. So there's one right there. That was. I'm just saying that everybody brings that zoning map up, and it's been done like that time and time again. That's why I don't put a lot of faith in it. And it seems like sometimes people will do it if they can use it, and then when they don't want to use it, they throw it out. So
Yes.
that done too.
It's supposed to guide you.
Huh?
It's supposed to guide you,
Yeah, so
but
guy.
it doesn't bind you.
Yeah.
Okay, someone want to make a motion? Don't everybody speak at the same time.
I thought Derek was gonna make one.
You make one.
Were you gonna make one?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, go
Well, my motion would be to deny this rezoning request based off the inconsistency with the land use plan and the planning board recommendation to deny,
Do we have a second?
as well as staff recommendation.
Do we have a second?
Jim Rigsby seconds.
We have a motion and a second to deny the rezoning request on the property on Highway 68. Call a question, Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
And I vote is, we're voting against it. Okay, Derek?
Well,
We're
Yeah,
voting to the.
yes for the motion, yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Jimmy?
No for the motion.
No for the motion.
Oh, boy, you guys left me in a tough situation. I sympathize with Mr. Little, but I still think that the place for mini storage, and I know we're not voting on that. Huh?
Not voting on mini storage.
Yeah, but you're gonna be setting a
Well,
precedent.
then I tell you what, with that, I'm going to have to vote I'm in voting, the motion is to deny. I'm going
Yes.
to vote against it. I vote to deny.
All right, so the motion fails.
Right.
Because it was
So
2
now
in
we need to
favor,
make a
3
motion
against.
to
Right, so that
approve
motion
it.
did not pass.
Right.
So if you're gonna take action, you need another motion.
Okay. Someone want to make a motion to approve the rezoning request? One of you three. Yeah, to approve it. We voted it.
Go. I'll make a motion in the affirmative that we go with the folks that want to to redo that property
To rezone it.
and rezone and put a storage facility as they have
And forget
explained.
about the
Yeah,
storage.
we can't do the storage.
Just straight zoning.
Okay.
Way
I
business.
messed up, sorry.
Jimmy, I mean, do we have a second?
But wait a minute, so let me make sure I heard the motion right. You're making a motion to approve
Highway
the
business.
petition to
Petition.
rezone from AG to HB. Now, you're required to say that it's reasonable and why it's reasonable, and you got to acknowledge that it's not consistent with the land use plan, but request that the land use plan be amended to reflect this change. So you've got to make that in your motion.
You want me to, I'd put two, I put a against and a for together, but I had an against too. Where's all this?
We now read the 1-4
Is either, okay, well, we done did it against, okay.
to make a
I'd
motion.
like to make a motion to approve rezoning case 2104-STL-03863 from ag to highway business. Although this property is not designated on the land use map, it is near a commercial node. It has direct access to Highway 68, provide a business that would bring needed services down Stokesdale. I wish that, well, that's the end of the motion. I wish that we could have just said
And
storage
that,
units. but-
and that you want to amend the land use plan
And
to
we'll have to
reflect
amend
this
the land
change.
use plan if this passes. And those may not.
So we have a motion and a second there.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone understand what we're voting for now, to approve it? Okay, call the question, Mr. Rigsby.
Whoa, let's have a discussion on that.
Okay.
We are making a vote to rezone this 4 acres that is not around commercial to highway business. That's right? That's right?
That's a proposed amendment.
Now it is.
It's 600 feet from commercial.
That, in my opinion, that is a huge mistake. Guys, that's a mistake, in my opinion. I mean, it's unsafe, you know, goodness gracious. It's against our land use plan. it looks an awful, again, I'm not an attorney, it sure does look an awful lot like spot zoning, in my opinion. You know, this is not about a storage unit. He has put together a wonderful plan, and I believe that he has a wonderful business. This is not about a storage unit. This is about just any business being there. It could be a dentist office. You know, you do, as you go down that hill, as you're building speed, you do have a safety issue there. You know, give it some additional thought. I do think we're making a mistake just because of what it'll be all around it, and
Well,
that's my opinion.
I was on the original long-range plan committee, and we had basically, I think it was 10 acres for commercial there. And we were trying to keep some of the growth in commercial downtown. Well, that hadn't flown. A few years ago, we approved a site for, 20, 30 acres on Hall River Road in 68 for what the developer said was a guaranteed Lowe's hardware that never came to fruition. And so, you know, we've done a lot more than the long-range plan called for in that area in terms of commercial. Commercials want to go somewhere.
In my
it's
opinion,
a few sites. It's some distance from the shopping center. I don't think it's going to be hard to limit that and expect that to stay agricultural.
you know, while I don't think, I think that's a valid point. At the same time, this just, this just does not seem to fit right there. Any business, forget storage, just as you're going down that hill. And it's just gonna open, in my opinion, it's just gonna open it up for everything.
We're all the way up from Hall River to Betty Ann's commercial.
We're up Hall River to almost 68. There's been a lot of businesses
On 68 all the way up to Betty Lou Hand's property.
I'm sorry, Hall River almost up to 158. Yes, you do have some rural farmland there, but you've got, let's go down the road here. You got BP, you've got Advance, you've got Tire Max, you've got.
Last year, you had that storage lot for that construction company, which.
Then you got four houses between Tire Max
Yeah.
and the next commercial zone. So there's four right there. And then you got a commercial zoning. And, Highway, Tommy Johnson's building a house up there on 68, and I'm really surprised that he is, because I wouldn't build a house right there on 68. I mean, I just wouldn't do it now. Something's going to be done, with it. And the Lowe's, we got one or two people here in Stokesdale that's doing all the land, seems like, and they don't have any problem getting anything passed, just like they didn't have any problem getting that passed up at the storage unit that we just did. And then we got one guy down here, he don't really have means. I mean, they're basically really the ones rezoning it, and he's going to purchase it and use it. But, that's, if I was him, I would be saying, hey, these guys can get things rezoned all over town, and what you call spot zoning, which I don't think that's spot zoning because it's right there in a commercial node. But here I am, I don't have any pull, I don't have any cookouts or anything, and I can't get something rezoned. So, that's just the way I see it, and I do hate it. If I was up against, had trees and stuff, I would want to keep them there too. I would. I don't blame anybody for being against it at all. But I can see, down the road, you're just going to see it down 68. Unless somebody buys that property and they make it residential and they can make something work there, agricultural, they could put four duplexes in there or something like that. Might be your best case scenario with what the zoning is right now. And that's a bad thing. People got to have a place to live, but you can stop it tonight. Sooner or later, investment group will get together, and They're gonna get that corner, they'll get those houses that's in the front. You got a couple houses there now that they're not doing anything with. I'm sure that's what's gonna end up happening, because nobody's gonna build a house back there. And I mean, it's a shame. I wish we'd just, not build another thing in Stokesdale would suit me just fine.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the rezoning request. Any further discussion? Call the question. Jim?
No.
Derek?
No, sir.
Jimmy? There? And I vote aye. If you,
So, just for inconsistency, so in 2014, when the land north of this plan was denied by this council, you just voted to be inconsistent with that one, is that, should I follow?
well,
So, like, closer to the commercial was denied.
Can I answer that?
You're saying that now that that's not the case, as this is further south, that that's okay now?
Can I answer that, John?
I'm saying our long-range plan is a guideline. It's not written in, it's not absolute, it's a moving document. We need to update it, I agree with that, but it's not written in stone. I mean, times change.
Respectfully, sir, I'm not asking you, I'm not looking at the plan. I'm saying the last motion that was made, north was denied. So the gentleman that wanted to rezone the land more north, closer to Food Line, that was denied. Now, for the exact opposite reason, you're saying that this is now commercial, and that this one is.
John, I know.
No, what I'm saying, the property to the north of Tire Max, there's about a 5-acre tract we changed the permitted use. They're gonna build a mini storage facility there.
We're speaking about two different properties.
John, let me answer him, please.
Okay, because I'm
I'm
confused
familiar
on
with
what
what
he's
he's talking
saying.
about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I researched that too before this case.
That's the one right behind my house.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I know, I understand. You're absolutely correct. It was denied. The reason that was denied, the people didn't show up. Nobody showed up. The people showed up against it, but nobody showed up. They had a miscommunication because of water, something about they were saying they were gonna have to hook up for water.
I remember, because
And-
I raised the objection then that it was
Yeah.
inconsistent with the council to allow a continuation for them to have and push it out another week, because I was traveling out of country
Yeah.
at that point,
Right.
which is what led the council to vote against it, so I'm familiar with it. But I guess what I'm saying is at that point, we're still denying the application, correct?
It was an easy one to deny because they didn't show up to put it out.
But we're saying it was denied, and now we're saying this is a no. Food Line's a yes, this is a no, and now this is a yes. That's where I'm, because if that's the case, then I would have moved to do something differently with my property. So now I'm confused, because if that's the case, that's inconsistent, and now you're saying it's not spot zoning, but you're literally saying that it was not, this one was okay and not okay, and now this one is okay.
Well, I wasn't
That's
on.
what I'm trying to make sure.
I wasn't on the board at the time. I read the minutes, and I know some of the folks that was there that didn't. There was a couple of people there that would have voted no on it anyway, but they didn't show up, yeah. You was there, wasn't you? So I'm telling you right?
But I want to make sure I'm following, because legally, this is where I want to make sure I'm understanding. If the reason was that the application was denied, right? So whether they showed or not, the application was denied for rezoning. Yet we're going past it and saying that this one may be approved for rezoning. By definition, I guess I'm trying to make sure of, right? No, yes, no, we're picking winners and losers. That doesn't feel right. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, if I'd been there that night, I'd have probably voted for it too, but I wasn't there. And sooner or later, if I'm just saying, sooner or later, I'll just about guarantee you, unless some people get together and form a group, get that property and do something with it,
We're voting for it based off of what may happen in the future versus saying that it's no, and if that's the case, then I'll form a group to go against it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to
I
understand.
didn't. I'm not doing it. I'm not sitting here trying to argue with you. I didn't, I didn't vote on it. I tried to put everything on the table that I had, and that's the reason that I did like I did. And I really hate it for you folks, because I understand where you're coming from. I've seen so much stuff that's,
Okay.
well,
Being fair to the neighbors, and you guys have all mentioned, if you guys have, I wish that it could stay like this, if somebody else would go in there and buy it. A lot of the neighbors never thought that there would be a business put there, so we never even thought about buying it.
4 years ago, that went away. We had started talking about buying the area, but 4 years ago, when they voted no. So to go further south into more residential, that's the source of my concern. Is now,
So I think the neighbors should have an opportunity to have that option, now knowing that, hey, as neighbors, as citizens of Stokesdale, if you guys don't come together on this, we're gonna put a business in your backyard. And their neighbors houses come up around us for sale all the time. We don't buy them because we assume they're not gonna be a Dollar General, because we live in their neighborhood.
Right.
We had the same assumption about this property for sale, and I would love to have the opportunity as neighbors to address what you guys have said, that you wish that would happen.
Because we would consider it, but we were not given that chance, which is not fair to us, because it sat behind us as agriculture. But if it was gonna be rezoned, we would like the chance to buy it, rather than let it become whatever it could become, which now it can if you vote it to
Right.
highway business.
I just get us off, I just want to make sure that we're clear on the rationale didn't fit to me. That's all I wanted to make sure, because for legal challenge or appeal, right? We have to make sure that I understand the rationale and the reasoning. So
Sure.
that's why I'm asking for clarification.
Sure.
well, the motion is, that motion is my rationale.
We brought our attorney last time, and we should have brought him tonight. We thought the board went through it, it would be fine, and we didn't bring him, we should have.
So we'll go call them.
Yeah, that's fine. I think we've done it. I feel like
Sorry, didn't mean to throw us off.
No problem. Thank you very much. I'm sorry it didn't turn out the way you wanted, but it is what it is.
Thank y'all for coming.
Yes, sir.
And we'll have the rationale, I guess, that's provided or no?
And congratulations to the applicant as well.
It'll be in the minutes, sir.
It'll be in the minutes.
Okay. Next-
Also, sir, this is being streamed on YouTube, so you should be able to go on our Facebook, our YouTube page, and you can watch the whole meeting in its entirety,
We,
providing audio is good.
at the recess, we fixed some of our technical difficulties.
Okay, I didn't even see they were on.
We got stuff to get to, like I said, I want to make sure that I'm clear on.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next case, conditional rezoning case 2103 STPL 01727 8643 Oak Level Church Road. Request to rezone, conditionally rezone property from conditional use RS30 to a conditional zone in RS30 residential single family. Property is at 8643 Oak Level Church Road. And Oliver Bass, I'll let you present the case.
Yes, my name is Oliver Bass, Guilford County Planning. This is a request that will amend conditions under the conditional zoning case 606-08-STPL-3701, and it includes a sketch plan for a 24-lot subdivision on 229.7 acres. The sketch plan was reviewed by the Guilford County Technical Review Committee, and you should have a letter from the committee attached to your report. The application included three use conditions, three conditions. One is the density is not to exceed 1 dwelling unit per acre. Just a note, this represents no change from the current zoning. The minimum lot size would be 30,000 square feet. This reduces the minimum lot size from the previous zoning from 40,000 square feet. And it will connect to the municipal water system, given that it is an RS30 zoning and it is a condition of the land use plan. So connection to the Stokesdale water would be required if the zoning is approved. Character of the area, property is in a primarily low-density residential area. The current property is undeveloped. Surrounding uses include undeveloped print land, large acre records, residential and agricultural uses. With regard to the land use plan, it is in the Stokesdale Future Land Use Plan from 2007. The Future Land Use Plan designates the area for rural residential. This designation is intended to preserve Stokesdale rural setting by establishing a uniform residential density. The rural residential classification recommends minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet, increased natural buffers along perimeter roads and entrances into major developments, plan for interconnected residential development through street and trail links, and eliminate the use of plan unit development outside of the town core. With regards to consistency, the proposed use and overall density are consistent with the recommendation in the Stokesdale Land Use Plan. Therefore, staff recommends approval. The proposed request with the request with the proposed conditions and sketch plan is reasonable and in the public interest because the overall residential density will be no more than one single-family dwelling unit per acre. The applicant proposes to connect to the subdivision to the municipal water system as required by the ordinance, and it will provide housing opportunities for Stokesdale residents. If approved, an amendment to the Stokesdale Land Use Plan will not be required. That concludes the staff report.
One quick question, Oliver. On the conditional rezoning application part 2, item 3, it says use condition municipal water or community water system will be used. I want to make sure that, and then on the conditions we've got, that it'll be municipal water only. It can't be community well. I just want to make sure that's a.
It cannot be community well.
Okay, it has to be city water. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Bass, where it says eliminate the use of planned unit development, was that zoned for planned unit development or something? I mean, that's.
That parcel is currently zoned, it's zoned CURS 30, but they're amending the conditions on that site. In the amendment, it will reduce the minimum lot size from 40,000 square feet to 30,000 square feet. And that pretty much represents the only change, but that has to be looked at as a new zoning case.
Right. But where it says eliminate the use of planned unit development, residential PDR outside the town core, what?
They're going for CURS 30.
Right, I'm just.
That's the land use plan. That's
That's the land
consistent
use
with the land use plan that you try to eliminate PUDs outside town core.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I just wonder if there's something there I didn't know.
Any questions of Mr. Bass?
Yeah, that was just, that's taken out of your land use plan.
What is this, you know, what's the gain or the loss or what here? I think it's gotta be some gain. What,
I'm sorry.
why are they doing this? I know they wanna, they're having problems with the lots or?
Well, the applicant can speak better to it, but it has to do with the location of the good soils that's suitable for septic.
Right.
And in the layout of the road, I think that the issue was that they have an issue, and the reason they said they needed to go, they wanted the flexibility to adjust the road in order to meet soil conditions for the lots within that subdivision. And the developer can speak to that
Okay.
with more authority than I can, but that's the rationale that was presented at the hearing.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, if you come forward and give your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Doris Clayton. I'm with Hugh Creed Associates Engineers, 1306 West Windover Avenue, Greensboro. Here on behalf of the owner, Mayor Development Cooler LLC, we're concerning the change of conditions for the present zoning. Right now, the property is zoned CURS 30. It was done back in 2007 before the recession. And it had 3 conditions to it. The three conditions were that the density is not to exceed one dwelling unit per acre. The second condition was a minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet. And the third condition was municipal water or a community water system will be used. And that's the present zoning now. We could use that zoning right now, but the owner came to us. We do a lot of rural developments, and he came with a soil analysis by registered soil person. And we looked at the soils versus this sketch plan. We're going to hand out a couple of sketch plans that show you the original layout of the property meeting the current zoning and what we're proposing to do.
Thank you.
I'm good.
I'll take one time and dig it out.
We have the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, you have them right there.
Yeah, but kind of the bigger one's easier.
Yeah, boy. Good for you, Howard.
Yeah, much better.
Okay, go ahead.
The only condition we're trying to change is that middle condition, would change that lot size from 40,000 square foot. Since it's zoned RS 30,000 square foot is the normal minimum lot size. And we'd like to go back to that. If you look at the two plans, the first plan, which shows the previously approved 40,000 square foot lots, it's 24 lots total. This property was done, or the site plan was done by another engineer. And because of the condition of holding 40,000 square foot per lot, that forced all the property to the north to push that street down in order to get 40,000 square foot on each lot. And there's abundance of good soils to the north side. And what to change it to 30,000 square foot lots, we're not changing the number of lots, it's the same number of lots. It just gives us a better opportunity to keep those 24 lots without doing off-sites. We try to keep them all on-site. It puts more good soils to the south side of that road. We're just moving the road north a little ways. So these would be more developable lots. Also, the 40,000 square foot requirement puts those lots to the south side over into that drainage area, which keeping them at 30,000 square foot lots, we can keep them out of that drainage area and leave that as open space for better use of the property. So we do realize that coming back for rezoning, being RS 30, we're going to tie the city water system. We intend to do that. It's going to come down Oak Level Road, about 3,000 feet to this property. So we would want to do that. I think that pretty much explains our position. Anybody has any questions or anything we'd be glad to answer?
Yeah, I've got one question for you. I think the zoning back in 14, I think that's when you, 07, was for a larger tract, about 100 acres. And that property ran all the way back down an unpaved dirt road that came back in at Ellisburg Road. I can't think of the name, Self Road.
Okay. I'm not aware of that, but that.
Okay, so this is only rezoning the 29.7 acres of that bigger tract.
Now, there is some parcels, there is some tract of land that's known, and it's own PDR. I think that may be.
To the south.
To the south. And that may be the part case that you're speaking.
That's what I'm thinking, but that's not this.
That's not part of this.
No, it's
two different
property
parcels.
directly to the south of this. It is not.
You're right beside Robert Vickery, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Who said that? Yeah, 1 second, Robert. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Then anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Mr. Vickery.
First thing is.
Give your name and address.
Property goes to the road.
Give your name and address, Robert.
Don't own. Now, the deed has been misplaced, but we will find the deed. Now, if you do anything, I told the man, that's why I'm gonna stop. I showed them their stop. Don't go across it. That belongs to us. they come down and do what they wanna do, but they don't own the road. They don't get to the road. That surveyor wrote a false deed and tried to take it. Now, let's go to court, I got the money to take it to court. Like I told the surveyor, he gonna take this knob up? I said, you won't make it. I'll make sure of it. He said, how about that other boy? I said, well, he won't make it neither. It's gonna hurt you to kill two, it's gonna hurt with one.
Mr. Vickery, tell him.
Robert,
Robert, go back to the microphone.
had a
and
question.
Give your name and address for
My
the
name
record.
is Robert Vickery. I live at 8637 Oak Level Church Road.
Got you covered, thank you.
And that older buck would roll over in his grave if he knows the Wilson's gonna get the property. That's why it was there.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Is there any rebuttal? The matter rests with council. I'm sorry, do you,
I just wanted to mention, I mean, we've done deed research on the property, and all the deeds say that the property is like it's shown on the plan, and there is road frontage on it, so. I don't think there's anything recorded that says otherwise.
Let me ask you a quick question, if I may. A lot of times we've picked up the same type of design papers and handed to us, and somebody will come in and say, well, that's not the way it was, when great-great-granddaddy did it. And we have shown, not by default, but just seen that they've been rewritten in the books over and over again to where it shows that of the record today wasn't back then, but now it is type deal. Did you research to the point of to settle this question with Mr. Vickery and the property there, that there was not another document in the courthouse downtown?
If I get
If he can produce it and show it to us, we'd be happy to look at it.
It's gonna be cold.
It shows that.
All right, thank you.
Terrence, some of that
Thank
may,
you.
Oak Level at one point in time was a unpaved dirt road.
Yeah.
And so I have no idea what the right of way, it may have been 20 feet or something. They realigned it a little bit and paved it. So I think Mr. Vickery's saying that the right of way, he's still got a little sliver of land between him and the road frontage.
Okay, all right, that's clear.
We have no, that's not our decision. That's either a legal question or a
Well, that's
survey
what
question or.
Yeah, I don't want to vote on something and
Okay.
be.
Now, just clarify, y'all already own your client already owns the property.
Correct.
As far as what's on the paper, I mean, and y'all have already had a plat approved.
That's correct.
You've already had a plat approved, so all we're doing tonight is fixing it to where you can have more open space. And if Robert.
Small lots.
Rearranged lots.
I just want Mr. Vickery to understand what we'll be voting on, because we won't be voting on about the ownership of the property, Robert. That's, I mean, y'all been talking about that for, back when the town hall was down there. I remember that going on and stuff. That, if you think it's something there, I mean, that court is really where you had, because we can't do anything about it. There's nothing that we can do. That would have to be a judge or something to do that, so, if you felt like you need to do that, it's what you do, because all we're doing tonight is just letting the lots be a little smaller and be open space.
Okay.
We're not doing anything about the ownership of the land whatsoever. I don't know anything, other than, I've heard this, a lot of times in the years. And I know you mean what you say, that I know there's a reason you say it, so. I know.
Okay. Let's move on, because we're late at night. Close the public portion of this hearing. Is there any discussion on this, or someone want to make a motion?
I just want to be clear that they are hooking up to the water system.
Has to.
Okay. So this
Do you
is
know,
not
are they,
affected that.
well, they'd be running down Oak Level Church Road, right? Okay. Any further questions?
No, sir.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Why don't you make one?
Make motion?
Go ahead, I made the last one.
Huh?
I made the last one, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve conditional rezoning case 2103 SDPL 01727 8643 from conditional use RS 30 to conditional zoning RS 30, subject to the conditions of connection to municipal water, minimum lot size of 30,000 square feet, and density not to exceed one dwelling unit per acre. And that seems to be consistent with the land use, and so I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah, second.
And you're doing it to the report. It's supported by the report,
Right.
because that also contains the additional language.
We have a motion. I think Derek, you seconded.
I did.
Okay. Any discussion? Call a question. Jim?
Aye.
Derek?
Aye.
Jimmy? Darren?
Aye.
And I. Let's take a 5-minute recess, and then we're going to do the public, the budget. I know you're going to kill me.
See you later, Oliver.
Take care.
Get back to me on those, the development ordinance changes as soon as you can. Thanks.
For the budget?
Is that on the record?
Yep.
Holy smokes.
Yes, sir.
No, we require reading on that text.
I've seen the deed, I know what the deed is. If I can hold the deed, they won't never get it.
Ask you a question.
Possibly.
Listen, down here on the new business, this consideration of the artist Parker home.
Patty?
Properties exceeding the water line, certain 98 units. We're doing that project also. Should I stay for that?
I would.
Okay.
It should be quick. We just had to get rid of the other
Patty wanted to
one,
make sure I
and
had her
don't mean
covered.
get rid of them as far as one gone, but
Yep.
I'll
that
get back to
parcel
you.
needed to be
Question, 'cause I
out,
thought
and
about
we
it
could
too,
finish
but I wasn't
ABC. Be pretty much done. Yeah, I'd do that because you're gonna be the spokesman carrying it back of what the council said or how the town said it. And vote, and also if you have any questions or corrections from us, if you don't mind, 15 minutes maybe.
I wasn't in favor of the mandatory when you said, you know, straight highway business. How do you turn it down? You know, you going to let Kevin Combs get everything?
Well, he, and somebody mentioned that, remember? Out there, they said he's bought everything in out, one man. Yeah, so, yeah, I just,
Those weren't any fun.
no, but you know, that's just part of the deal, part of the deal.
Well, you only got 5 more minutes. Wow, I'm just hitting him right.
I'm somebody else.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
See, I don't see how the hell that guy's gonna pay for it.
Oh,
From Boone Lake to the Rose.
that's a haul, yeah, pretty good haul up there.
24 miles. 500,000.
But the new adjustment, instead of starting tomorrow morning.
Gotta see
You know what I mean?
That's great, it's great for us.
We need to
Yeah,
get out
oh,
and see
well,
that.
and that's, wait till a year.
Both groups,
Still
the
here?
first one and the second, he just basically threatened to shoot 2 people.
Yeah. We got a long way to go.
And with a person said, I got you covered.
Hey, we'll follow him home and so nobody,
Four-way flash.
In fact,
or anything.
I've done enough damage tonight. Y'all can just excuse me for the rest of the night.
Oh, good try, Bubba Joe.
Hey, we're not even halfway through.
Huh?
Yeah, barely. 8-0.
We still alive.
We are.
Just call me
Did it get YouTube up? Is YouTube up? The YouTube, is it up?
That's what they said.
Yes,
I don't know. That's what this is.
You're on YouTube, Jim.
It's like a 10-second delay, but it's.
Yeah. Where's he at?
Yes, I guess I need to get myself
Go round up there.
Anybody want a water?
Yeah, bring me one, please.
Yeah. Please. Okay, let's reconvene as a council.
I'm good, thank you.
Are we seriously doing? Okay. I can do
We'll
this.
let you get started. If there's anything, I'll,
Okay, let me get.
Where are we at?
I don't even know where to begin, John. This has been interesting. Okay. Let's see. On the budget. Do you want me to read the budget message, or do you want me, no, just go over?
unless members of council do. I don't, I've read it.
You've read it?
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask the others.
Oh, man.
I want you to do whatever's fastest.
Okay, I've prepared a budget for the general fund and the water, and that's it, we're good. Next.
I make
Is
a
that
motion.
fast enough?
I make a motion to approve.
Good job, moving on. Huh? Oh, yeah, we gotta have a public hearing, John.
Yeah.
We were trying to move on.
We'll wait for Tom and Darren. I really honestly don't see any need to read that.
I don't either. I don't either.
It'll be on the website tomorrow, the next day anyway, but we're
Yeah,
by Monday.
and it's been out there for
Yeah.
2 weeks. It's been out there already, John, for 2 weeks,
Better man
too,
than
so.
Okay,
Well, that's only by default on the couch.
Kim's going to make a presentation on the 2022 budget. She asked if we want to read the finance officer's budget message. It's a copy, first 2 pages on the budget that she's presented. I personally don't see any need to, but if anyone wants it read, we can. If not, go ahead, Kim.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with the general fund first, on the proposed fiscal year '22. On the revenue side, and I won't go line by line either, unless anyone wants me to,
Is it that?
It's the same thing we talked about
Yes.
at the last meeting.
yes.
I'm looking for it.
On the revenue side, total income for the revenue, we are looking at $473,772.29. That includes our beer and wine contributions and donations for the parade, Greensboro Jamestown profit sharing, investment earnings, as well, you can see that's gone down significantly from last year and the year before. Miscellaneous income, which normally includes when citizens request for copies of public records and certain items like that. Planning and zoning fees, the state collected revenues, and the town hall facility rentals. So, again, and undesignated funds from town reserves, we have entered $80,772.29. Okay. All right, down below there, under our expenses, we have total capital outlays of $100,000, total cultural and recreational, $18,000, total economic and physical development, $29,000, general administrative, and property expense, $148,200. That does include just our general overhead for town hall in certain areas. Legal and professional includes the audit and the attorney fees, and that total is $63,200. Payroll expense, $229,783.80. That this year includes, we have proposed for the state retirement, which would be, as you see highlighted to the side, 11.35% of the total salaries, full-time salaries. And then we have total public safety of 25.5, so total operating expenses is $613,383.80. And reimbursement from water expense, fund shared overhead expenses for proposed is $139,911.52. That is our general fund. And on, also attached, I think, yes. The salaries, we did do a separate sheet for the salaries. We have the vacant town clerk position, proposed at $50,000 full-time for the year. Our part-time town clerk, Dale Martin, $24,700. Priscilla Hunsucker is our deputy clerk at $34,445. She is full-time. Kimberly Thacker, the finance budget officer, is $45,000. She is part-time. And Gary Machunas, I hope I said that right. He's our water technician. He's $10,000 part-time. And his is from the water enterprise. The water enterprise reimburses 100% of Gary's salary.
I thought he got paid more than that.
He just doesn't work many hours.
He doesn't work, yeah.
That's his salary.
Okay,
He
salary,
has the
plus
other-
we
he
get
has
a-
his
It's in the
license. We pay him 2 times a year for his licensure.
Okay, we pay for his license too,
Which
so
is
that's a
That's right.
contract.
That's right.
Where is that under? When you do
That is under, on the water
Contract
side, that's,
operations.
that's
Contract
correct, under
ops,
contract,
okay.
that's right. That's right, good job, John. Okay, so we'll move over to the water enterprise, unless anyone has questions or anything on the general fund.
No, ma'am.
Okay. The water enterprise account proposed, our total income, we are looking at $1,714,863.05. That also includes the House Bill 436, and our water sales, late fees. That includes miscellaneous backflow preventer fees, damage and penalty fees, investment income, which is extremely low again, taps and connection fees, and the water capacity fees. And we have proposed transfer from fund balance of $3,945.50. So our total revenue from the water enterprise, we are proposed budgeting $1,714,863.05 again. Water purchase, we are proposing $160,000. Under administrative fees, total administrative fees and payroll is $125,619.78. Under repairs and maintenance, our total, we are looking at $50,250. Water capital, which matches the capital reserve fund from the revenue, the water capacity fees, is $40,000. Total meters, we're looking at $45,000. The total expenses that includes the overhead reimbursement to the general fund is $1,714,863.05.
Where'd the nickel come from?
Come again?
Where'd
Out
the
of your
nickel
pocket.
come from?
Your pocket.
I had to balance.
With an odd number.
We have also attached to the back of this with the tap fee schedule, and the different pricing on the different meters and the installation, all of that is behind there as well. Does anyone have any questions about the water?
As long as it flows.
I'll just make one comment, just for the public. The expenses and the income this year are significantly higher than they've ever been by about $1.1 million, and that's because we got a grant for $1,154,000 and some odd dollars. So that's why the budget is going to look very different for the water enterprise fund.
That's correct.
Okay, any questions, comments? Make a motion, we approve the budget as presented.
We need to do
Should we do just a public?
we need to do water and.
Oh, that's right. I guess we need to have, are there any comments from the public? Tom, you had up two fingers.
I was just, yeah, you got the public hearing and then you got two budgets to approve.
Okay. Close the public hearing now. Better rest with council.
I'll start it out by making a motion to approve the general fund budget as presented.
I'll second that. Have a motion and a second just for the general fund budget. Any discussion? Call the question, Jim.
Just for the record, I do want the citizens to know that, we did have the 3 budget meetings to discuss this. So there was a lot of work behind the scenes. Well, it wasn't behind the scenes, they were in public meetings, but you know what I mean.
Let's vote.
Jim Rigsby's aye.
Derek Foy is aye.
Jimmy?
Oh, man, I said I wasn't gonna vote for this thing, but we did the best we could, I reckon. Aye.
There. And aye. Now we need a motion on the Water Enterprise Fund.
Derek will also make a motion to present the Water Enterprise Fund budget as presented,
I'll second
the
that.
FY 20.
Any discussion? Call the question, Jim.
Jim Rigsby's aye.
Derek?
Derek's aye.
Jimmy?
I'm an aye.
Derek?
Aye.
And aye. Okay. Second reading, proposed text amendment number 1 to section 2.1.7, general of the town development ordinance. I can't remember what CH means anyway. Whereas the town of Stokesdale desires to have orderly growth to protect the health, safety, and welfare of its residents and businesses. And whereas the development ordinance of the town of Stokesdale is hereby amended as follows. Amend section 2-1.7, general CH of town of Stokesdale development ordinance as follows. Proposed text amendment number 1 to section 2-1.7, general CH of town development ordinance. Current definition. Subdivision, major. A subdivision involving more than 4 lots or requiring new public streets for access to interior property or requiring extension of public sewer or water line or requiring a waiver or variance from any requirement of this ordinance. And the proposed change was to remove the above verbiage of or requiring a waiver or variance from any requirement of this ordinance. And we voted on this, I guess, at the first reading last month.
Correct.
And it was a 3-2, so we didn't get a super majority, so we had to have a second hearing and vote on it, and that's what we're doing tonight. So are there any questions or discussion on it?
No.
I make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the text amendment to section 2-1.7 under general CH of the change to the major subdivision as presented to council and read by Mayor Flint.
Jim Rigsby seconds that motion.
We have a motion to second to approve the amendment to the development ordinance, section 2-1.7. Any discussion or questions? Call a question. Jim?
Jim's aye.
Derek?
Derek's aye.
Jimmy?
Aye.
Derek?
Aye.
And I vote no. Okay, discussion and action on acceptance of American Rescue Plan funding by the state of North Carolina. I'm not sure who put this on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I added this to the agenda. Just to go over the backstory, as part of President Biden's American Rescue Plan that I think he signed into law in March, it's my understanding that every municipality in the country will receive money from the federal government through the state. If it's not every municipality in the country, I absolutely know for a fact it's every municipality in the state. I believe there was 20 municipalities or so, the larger size in population. They've already received their money from the American Rescue Plan directly from the federal government. So that would be your Greensboros and High Points and Raleighs and Charlottes. All of the other small municipalities, the other 500 or so, will be getting their cut of the money from the state government. The state government has received that money from the federal government. It's a matter of paperwork, filling that out. There were two, it was the number each town was going to get is either one, based on the population, or two, capped out at 75% of your total budget. So if it would have been based off the population, if they didn't have that ceiling based off the budget, Stokesdale would have been entitled to $1.6 million. However, because they do cap it off at the budget, 75% of that, it looks like our number is about $724,000. We would receive the first half of that sometime this summer, and then the second half of that sometime next year. So this is just in my opinion, administrative technicality to accept these funds.
Is that based on the general fund or general?
It is permissible to add those both together. And one thing, there's certain restrictions for what this money can be used. For example, general infrastructure such as building a building or park improvements. It's my understanding it can't be used for that. But for water infrastructure, it's absolutely a permissible use, and so the town of Stokesdale would definitely benefit from this money.
Okay, have a motion to adopt it.
I make a motion that we do adopt that resolution to accept the federal money via the state of North Carolina for the American Rescue Plan.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
Yeah. Is there any strings attached to that money?
Jimmy, there's really not. I mean, there's 3 or 4 forms to fill out. Click, 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 submit.
And telling us we got to do anything with zoning or
no,
there's nothing.
No,
They do stuff like that.
No, sir.
I think you're subject to audit for 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, yeah. I mean,
You are. So the money needs to be encumbered by December 31st of 2024 and all spent by December 31st of 2026.
this bill won't have no problem doing that.
Right.
Okay, we have a motion. I think, did we get a second on that?
You.
Oh, okay. I was just checking to see if y'all
job,
were asleep.
Make sure they're
Yeah,
awake.
I am.
Okay, I call the question. Jim?
Jim's aye.
Derek?
Derek's aye.
Jimmy? Jim.
That's like a ritual.
When we're talking about some of the money, grants and things like that, I put in everybody's a package. It wasn't necessarily on the agenda. Some research that Scott Whitaker did with Town of Summerville. He spoke with Abby Gack, budget analysis, and he's talking about the 1.154 million, and it says, funds in section 1 of this act are not, of this spent, let me start over. Funds in section 1 of this act not spent or encumbered by June 30th, 2022 shall be returned by the local government funded by section 1 of the act to the Office of State Budget and Management. But this document does not suggest the money must actually be spent by 6/30/22. It just must be encumbered. And what he's saying is a generic form. You can't just say we're going to spend the money. You actually have to be under contract to like a developer, a water company. But you got to have that by June of 22. We got to have it either spent or a contract signed. So we need to get our act together, and there's about an 8-page form we need to just fill out. One of the big things is the real question we got, the only really question we got, the rest of it's just perfunctory stuff, is what are we going to do with the $1.14 million, $1.154 million? And, we had the proposal from Hazen and Sawyer showing us a number of things that they have on the priority list. But I suggest we have a meeting fairly soon, because if you're going to extend water lines, you're going to have surveys and engineering work and things like that. And your time is not significant when you're talking about that kind of project. So I'll leave that for the council to work on.
May I address a question on that with the attorney? Please, sir. Mr. Attorney. It says on here, about the suggesting, the documents suggest the money must be spent by this. In looking over this on the face of it at this point, how do you interpret, not definitively, but are there other things that we're not seeing in the overall packet? Or why would somebody put that? If you either have to have it done or you don't, there should be an in-between.
It's, you've got to have put yourselves into a legal position committing the expenditure of the funds. That's gonna be a written contract to spend it in the future, but you're bound to do it. So it gets in your budget, all those kind of steps.
Right.
Or you've already spent it, so that's it. And it can't be, hey, yeah, we're gonna do this project next year, but we're not ready to commit to it yet. That's not gonna work.
So really, it's not a cart before the horse, but it kind of is that you gotta have the project before you can claim, secure the funding for it.
You gotta know how you're gonna spend it.
Right.
And commit to do it.
Maybe that's the way somebody has interpreted that and put it in that line.
Council would need to vote, decide how they want to use the money. But with a sum this large, of course, we'd have to bid that out, and then we would go under contract. And then my understanding is once you can go into contract, you can submit that to the contacts that John mentioned. And my understanding is that you can receive the goods up front with the contract. So from a cash flow perspective, that's a really good thing, that we can get it up front.
Right. We just got to get it in the hopper and get going.
I agree.
There was provision in the general statute, Session Law 2017-17, House Bill 637, where it talked about the three towns would get 3.637 million. We spent 175,000 roughly on the water study, so it was about 3,462,000. Divided it up, and our share was 1,154,000. There was language in there that it originally had to be spent or encumbered by June of this year.
Right.
But they extended it for 1 year, so we got 1 year. So we got to get our,
I think Stokesdale will, throughout the next few months, will have a good plan together of how to spend, but there are also some folks trying to encourage folks in Raleigh to make that deadline to 2023. That's kind of beside the point. I think because we have a water system, we, in a CIP plan, we have a path, so to speak. It's just for council to discuss and vote.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Number 12.
Continued discussion of employee benefits.
That's
Jim?
fine. I may make it very quick. I'll make a motion to table this to the June meeting for the reason we did receive the application, to the July meeting. We did receive the application from the retirement system today, I believe, on email. So we just need to complete that and get it ready. But there was a delay in hearing back from the retirement people. But we finally got it today, I saw, so.
Okay.
So you want to continue?
You make a motion?
June meeting?
To July.
I make a motion.
July.
You make a motion, I second it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to continue the discussion of employee benefits until the July 8th meeting.
Call the question, Jim.
Aye.
Derek?
Derek's aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Aye. Next thing on the agenda, consideration of a request by R.S. Parker Homes for approval to tie into the town of Stokesdale Water System to serve a new subdivision located on Happy Hill Road, which will consist of 98 homes. And we had a letter from Mr. Clayton wanting to some advice on what they needed to do to tie in on city water. It was our understanding from Oliver at one time that there was some concern about Duke Power owned the property where the road was going in off of Happy Hill, and they were going to have to sign a rezoning request. So I sent this to Tom Medlin, his letter, and Tom came back and said basically he was familiar with the situation. He and Oliver had talked about it, and they did not think that Duke Power would have to rezone the property or commit to rezoning the property. So now it's just a question, do we want to extend that water line down Happy? If you look, we're talking roughly 100 houses back on the proposal Hazen and Sawyer did for us the other day, on page 32, they were itemizing all the projects that are proposed. And on Happy Hill Road, south of US Highway 158, they were showing a length of road of 4,200, and they were assuming that the town of Stokesdale was going to pay for that water extension, an 8-inch line. They were showing $1,185,000. So to me, the developer's going to pay that fee. We're going to get roughly $75,000 impact fees. We're going to get about $2,450 a month for $25 service fees on each water bill. And I know Derek had some question about the capacity. I called, of course, we addressed some of those. He thought the capacity on the line on 158 was about 450,000 gallons a day. And it actually was 2.23 million. And he was concerned about we were getting, a little closer to the allocation of 300,000 gallons per day of our contract with Winston-Salem. I called Courtney Driver and told her the concerns and said, we're nowhere close to that now, but, the 300,000 gallons might become an issue in, 2030, something like that. And she said, listen, we have 3 treatment plants. Our capacity is 91 million gallons a day. Right now, we're at 36 million gallons a day, so we got plenty of water. And I said, well, do we need to ask for requests now or wait, a few years down the road when we actually come close to where we need it? She said, well, you can do it either way. If you make a request now, it'll just go in a file and it'll go in their strategic long-range plan showing we need X amount of gallons. So to me, there's no question there's going to be plenty of water available from the Winston-Salem. It looks to me like this is somebody just saying, here's a $1.185 million grant. We're going to pay for the water. Costs Stokesdale nothing. We get the impact fees. We get monthly service. We get fire hydrants for 4,200. That'd be about, I think, every 800 feet, about 5 or 6 fire hydrants. To me, it's a win-win situation, and I think we ought to agree to extend water to R.S. Parker's development.
Did you say our pipe would hold 2.3 million gallons?
Per day. It would flow 2.23 million
It'll
gallons.
flow that much?
Yeah. Well, if you look at the engineering, you just look online, what it'll flow, that's the number you truly get. But, Meg's not here from Hazen and Sawyer is not here to say it, and I could be dead wrong, Jimmy, but I do vaguely recall that figure being thrown out, and she mentioned head loss and all that, so that was, somewhat our figure. I do remember that. She's not here.
I don't know why, I'd heard like a number, 450,000. I don't know where I got that number, but that's a lot of water.
Well, when we had the public hearing with them, I showed her that in writing where Hazen and Sawyer did a study for the city of Winston-Salem, and it showed the figure at 2.23 million, and she saw her copy, and that's documented.
That
was
one
documented.
pipe.
It's a 12-inch line coming in town of Stokesdale.
Okay. Well, that's one of my concerns is, when we start doing that, how much water can we get here? Because, we're eventually going to use,
I think we got a credibility problem. You guys don't believe anything I tell you from.
You never told me 2.3 million.
I'll give all 4 of you her number, and you can call, and she can get that. But it's in writing, it's in a formal document. I don't have it with me now, but.
I don't think anybody said anything. In fact, I did some research through Winston-Salem myself and saw that their treatment capacity is indeed 91 million gallons a day. Yeah. And I factored out their average use per day, and sure enough, it's 34 million. So, that in itself does determine, that the capacity's there. Look, I'd feel much more comfortable having something stashed away in our file. I really would. Let's get that done. But, you know,
I can work on that. I mean, you're putting together long-range plans and spending money, and, you know, I'll be glad to, with John, make contact, and we can put something together for y'all to look at, down the road to go ahead and get an increase in our, what they're willing to.
yeah. The Hazen and Sawyer study does say the town will need a by 2020.
And I would want to supply that to them as support for that.
When do these folks want to hook up to the water, John?
Sooner rather
Oh,
than
you hooking the
later.
water too? He's everywhere.
Yeah. He's multitasking.
He's the utility player tonight.
Yeah, he's making all of them.
John would call you the hired gun.
We the last piece of the puzzle.
Yes, it's already been approved, it's an odd piece of property, the bulk of it is in Forsyth County. Strip in Oak Ridge, and then the water is coming, because there's no frontage into Forsyth County, it's gotta come through Stokesdale to get to Forsyth County.
Well, I want to vote for it. I mean, because we're getting all that line. You know, I've agreed with you on that. You always seem like you get offended when I'm asking you. And I'm not disagreeing with you.
Well,
I'm just,
y'all didn't want to sell water to outside of,
we voted for it.
no, we didn't. We
That-
never
that-
voted on
that's-
Happy.
On who?
We
Oh,
never voted on
we
Happy
never
Hill.
voted. We voted on the other. All I'm concerned, I just want to make sure that we've got enough water to cover Stokesdale. And that's the concern. And you just said 2.3 million gallons, and I had 450,000 in my head. So that's a big difference.
Well, we're using 108,000 gallons. That's documented. You look in the budget.
I know that.
And we can use up to 2.23 million. So we're using, we could multiply ours by 20-fold. So instead of having 600 houses, we could have 12,000 houses, which would put our population up to 48,000. When we get 48,000 men, you're gonna be turned up.
Yeah, probably.
And I don't know, I don't know what the question is, somebody's gotta decide, if we're gonna ask them for more capacity now, how much are we gonna ask them? They're surely not gonna give you their whole 55 million gallons, I can guarantee you that. It's gotta be a reasonable amount based on some kind of projection. I think Hazen and Sawyer was saying, the 300,000 gallons a day would work until about 2030.
2027.
20 what?
2027.
That's not that far off, but, you know, but you say you can get that. Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we vote on it pending, you know, getting a letter of increase? I mean, that way they say it's done and she's gonna do it, so we just gotta.
Yeah, an increase, you gotta give her, I think you gotta give her a finite amount. You know, she said, well, I'll give you 10 more gallons a day.
How much, okay, this would be reasonable. How much is the expected use off those two developments in Forsyth County? That's what I would say, as far as, you know, as far as this having anything to do with it.
Each house is using about 140 gallons per day.
Right.
You got 100 houses here roughly and 50 houses in the other one. So 150 houses times 140 gallons is 2,100 gallons per day. So you're not
21,000.
significantly.
Yeah.
Funky math.
You know what the
There's
problem
21,000 gallons.
We should
somewhere
never
about
order
that,
chairs and
21,000
turn around.
gallons.
Yeah.
They can talk.
Just talk to
Yeah, 21,000.
But I mean, if you're assured that we can get an increase, I mean, that's not, that's,
But we still got, we got 192,000 gallons a day excess capacity.
Yeah, exactly.
hey, I think it's a good idea to get the pipe done and all that. I've never knocked it,
Oh, I know, I mean,
never knocked it.
it's a great deal for Stokesdale.
Yeah. I just don't want us to overbuild and run out of water, but I don't know why, that's 2.3 million gallons in that pipe, because I was concerned we were gonna have to get another pipe to get water down here because of that, and that was a big concern.
Well, that's
So
the other issue.
that's true, and I don't have that concern anymore.
But why don't we make a motion to allow Tom Madeline to get with Courtney Driver and see what kind of letter she needs? And he can talk to somebody, Meg Roberts at Hazen and Sawyer, and say, you know, how much do you think we'll need by 2040? That's 10 more years out. And she says, we think we're good till 2027, and then we'd like to increase it by X amount of gallons, like 200,000.
Right.
Let Tom have it.
I don't need a motion for that. If y'all just say,
Okay.
let's start working on that, I'll work on it.
$50.
But
We're
just to be fair to R.S. Parker Homes, I think we need to make a motion that we will allow them to tie on to city water.
Okay, well, did you just make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, good. Got a motion.
We have a
Jim Rigsby
motion to
seconds it.
Provide water. You second?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any discussion?
Wait a minute, what was the motion?
The motion to provide R.S. Parker.
Motion to
city water,
approve.
access to city water.
West.
And Tom, you can just write them a letter, I guess.
I'll work on
You're
that.
giving us your assurance that we can get that.
No.
That's all I'm asking for. I'm asking, you're always saying I don't trust you.
No,
Give me your assurance, that's what I want.
That's what she said.
Okay, well,
She said, we got 91 million, you're using 36, he verified
you
that.
want me to trust you.
They're in the
Here you
business
go.
to sell water.
Okay, I'm just saying, so there's a trust issue, here we go.
You know where I live. Okay, we have a motion to second to provide water to R.S. Parker for the development on Happy Hill Road. I'm going to call a question. Jim?
Jim's aye.
Derek's aye.
Jimmy?
No, aye.
Theron? And I. Okay, consideration of a,
Thank you.
I don't even know where we're at.
of a contract with Yates Construction Company to install water line from Oak Level Church Road and South Point Drive intersection to Deer Path Court and tying it to existing main to replace the existing line servicing 7 homes on South Point Drive. If you remember in the study on Hazen and Sawyer, that was a concern. We voted on it, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and we wanted to wait on the study from Hazen and Sawyer. That was one of the recommendations. The fire department went up there, we tested the water pressure in the fire hydrants. The new subdivision, Boone Meadows, the water pressure was only 350, don't hold me the exact number, somewhere 350 gallons per minute. And we want a minimum of about 600. So he basically said, unless you do something to boost that, I would suggest that you put a black bag over the fire hydrants in Boone Meadows. We'll know not to use them, but, in mutual aid, so some of the other fire departments don't hook up it because it could collapse our line or damage their trucks. So, there's really 2 options on that. And one was to take that 2-inch connector on South Point Drive and replace it with a 6-inch line. It was about 920 feet. That was, and Gene just gave us a new bid on that, $58,000. The other option was to run a line basically from the new by right, the intersection of 65 and Ellisford Road up to Gideon Grove and hook in directly to Brook Meadows. That would give you more pressure and it would give you a loop on the water. But the cost on that was about $145,000, and that estimate was back in September of 19, so it's probably gone up to $155,000 or $60,000. But I think it's something we need to do. If we got a brand-new subdivision, and then we can't even use the fire hydrants, I think that's a concern. And, we could take the money out of Water Enterprise Fund, I think, or if we're installing new lines, we could take it out of the impact fees.
Your concern is valid, and I'd like to see the problem fixed. But I thought that when we had the last meeting that we wanted to, that we were obligated to get some more bids. I thought from what I understood, that was what the law was. And I like Yates. I'd like to use Yates. But are we not obligated? I mean, that's the way I took it that time.
We don't have to use Yates. That's just a ballpark figure for our reference point. I think any contract over 50,000, is that true, Tom? Has to be
30.
30, okay. So we'd have to put it out for bid, but.
We already voted to do that.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have.
We have, John.
We voted to put that out.
That was the reason we didn't do it when we did it, the last time.
passed
We
4-1.
want to fix the problem, but legally, from what I understand, I may be wrong, he can tell me, but we're supposed to put that out for bid legally. And I'm not going to vote for it illegal. I want to fix the problem.
I just want to say, hey, let's go forward with the project. If we need to get bids, first thing we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to get an engineer to,
We already
design the thing,
We
okay?
already voted to do it. It's just.
We'll get bids.
Get the bids.
Are we required to get?
I like to
bids,
use
Tom?
Yates. I hope they're, I wish it was lower than this. Are we not required to get bids?
That's what he's working.
I need the statute in front of me now, because I'm sitting here thinking about, it's 30,000, but I can't remember if that's involves, construction.
The last,
Okay,
when we voted on it before,
or over, and I don't remember before.
yeah. You might-
Over
might
30 is
value too much.
informal bidding, and I think over 9, or maybe,
Or informal bidding.
Informal.
Is it formal or informal?
I don't know.
It changed, what, 18 months ago, pretty much? Well, no, it didn't change, we just.
It's
found
not what
out
it
about
What I understand is $30,000, and I don't know, I'm not going, I want to fix the problem, and I'm not
I'm
going.
not an attorney.
I'm
I'm not gonna vote on
I'm
something
gonna
if I think
text
it's
Tom
illegal.
the statute.
They don't print it anymore.
That's-
Tom would, if you were replacing a 2-inch line with a 8-inch line, that I would think might be considered maintenance instead of, new construction, would that change it?
Hold on.
We need to make sure that we're right on this.
It's informal bids. This is the informal,
Put you all together.
I don't want to go to jail. I'm already,
what you texted
be
me.
on people's bad list.
Sitting out there right now, waiting for you.
Contracts, for construction or repair
You
work,
want to be on the news.
supplies, materials, equipment. 30,000 or more, but less than the 500, the big limit can be informal.
What does informal mean?
That means you call around, you get several different, tell them you're doing this, and please submit a bid, and you get them in, and then you look at them. You don't have to go through the formal of putting out a bid and sheets and getting bonds, and it has to be, open at a certain date and all that whole, and advertised. You don't have to run it in the newspaper.
There's a lot of stipulations to formal bids if y'all.
Really,
read
that's
up
the
on it.
main thing. You don't have to run it in the paper.
Minority contract.
Yes, sir.
We'll be doing the
A lot of
formal
stuff you have
bids
to
for
do.
the bigger.
A lot of stuff you have to do.
All right.
All right, so do we need to,
43, 129.
I guess, call around?
We had a vote.
We can call Yates and, Tom, Stanley, and I can get a couple more bids. The guy that's, I can talk to Priscilla that does all the work, like at Angels Glen, and
You want to get bids on the other way too?
Yeah,
Get bids on
I'll be
both.
honest, I want to see the numbers, but I almost feel like going down to Ellisboro is the better solution than the.
I agree it's a better solution. It's just more money, but hey,
Well-
it solves two problems.
Yeah.
Well, eventually that field over there is going to be see, that's the
It'll be
thing.
another neighborhood.
There's going to be a development there of some type. And I would a whole lot rather wait and let them put the water in. But who knows how long it's going to be. So.
That property doesn't perk very well.
I'm not particularly for us running water lines, but you've got a problem there to fix. So we just need to look at both the numbers.
Top number
Yeah.
is 500,000.
Okay.
So if it's between 30 and 500,000, you can do an informal bid process, so you don't have to run advertising.
Sweet.
Well, we want to
Paper
get the
and all
best
that.
price.
No, it's not. We're still going to bid it out, but we don't have to.
Yeah.
We'll go in the middle for a
I'd
minute.
love for Yates to be the best price, but I want us to get the best, the best value that we can get for our dollars.
Whatever we do, I really would like to see a quote for Ellisboro, and let's let council choose then.
Yeah, let's get the bids on two jobs.
We've got one, so two more.
Yeah. Well, I get Yates to update the one on Ellisboro Road, but yeah, I'll get 2 or 3 bids on those two projects.
Why don't we make a motion so that,
We've already did it.
on
We're gonna do it. We're
I
gonna
mean,
get
it's
bids.
already been, we've already made a motion and a vote to do that.
to go out?
That's
We
why
have.
when I looked at this, I thought, well, where's the other bids?
Okay,
I promise you, we've done it.
okay. Consideration of budget amendment FY 2020, 2021. Derek sent everybody an email on that, talking about, no, that was something different. I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, I'll turn the floor over to Kim. Kim's Kim's bird dog this. We're here at the last month of the year. I think there's a few tweaks we need to make. And, you know, we did have one question. The capacity fees from FY '20, so I'm talking about water here, from FY '20, if you look at our audit, the audit did not reflect council's vote in our town-produced documents as of June 30th of 2020. And they did not reflect that $39,000 bit of revenue going into a capital reserve fund, even if it was on paper. I know we didn't have our bank account set up then. In my opinion, it should have been on paper. I called and talked to Rex about it, and he said that the best way to do this is capture it as an expense item this year and move it to the CIP. Then I emailed his assistant just to confirm our conversation. He ran it by Rex, and then he confirmed that via email. That's kind of I think everything else is pretty straightforward. We're going to need to, I think, bump up. But I had a feeling tonight would be a long meeting, so I said, well, why don't we bump up Tom's number a little bit. And we need to do some work on salaries, increase that, and everything else. Kim, go over it.
Okay.
Were we back on the page? We're back
On the budget amendments.
Green and blue.
So much paper here I can't find.
You should have a, excuse me, spreadsheet in your packet about budget amendments. And the general fund, I have highlighted in green, the water I've highlighted in blue.
It was laying there. It's in there. Open the book. Yeah, right there. Right there it is.
Okay, I got it.
All good?
Yeah, we got about 100 papers up here.
I understand, I do.
We've buried
Yep,
ourselves.
Okay, got it.
This table's ready.
All right, so the green is the general fund, the blue is the water. And what I am proposing the amendments to be, in the park investment, right now, we are at $18,249.56. I am proposing to drop that down to $1,000, because we haven't used that, and we could use that money there, of course. The park and electrical repairs, cleaning and lighting, proposing to drop that by $5,000. Advertising, planning and zoning, we need to up that by $3,500. Administrative expenses and fees, education, I am proposing to drop that by $5,000. Travel and conference for staff council, drop by $2,100. Town hall repairs and maintenance, we do need to raise that, and that is because we have a heat and air issue. And the legal and professional fees, attorney fees is Tom only. We need to up that by $4,300.
That's a bargain, I'm telling you right now.
The FICA fees, I am proposing for us to up that by $5,060.50. Town hall salaries, I am requesting to up that by $15,000, and that's all for the general fund. Do you guys have any questions on anything for the general fund that I'm proposing?
One quick question, town hall repairs and maintenance. We got a bid, we're gonna talk about in a second, for $9,300 roughly for replace that heating and air conditioning. That you got enough to cover that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's why I'm
Okay.
asking for that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, and then, so any more questions on the general fund? Okay. The water, taps and connection fee, and that is revenue. Because we need to raise that by $10,000.
Excuse me.
Close to that. Water capacity fees by $42,750. Transfer from fund balance, I'm requesting $50,595.55, and we just discussed that. That's in regards to the capacity, the CRF fund. We need to expense that out as Rex has advised us. Now I'm down to the expenses for the water. Again, that's the transfer for the fiscal year 20, the capacity fees to the CRF, $39,141. And then transfer to capital reserve fund for this year would be $42,750. Expenses for the FICA, we need to raise that by $2,889.55. Town hall staff and salaries, $8,565. And then the electronic water meters for new construction, we need to raise that by $10,000. Any questions on that?
So we got about $81,000 total in capital reserve fund.
That's including last year's,
Yeah, right.
yes.
And that was a cumulative, well, I guess last year was the first year we did them.
Last year was $39,141.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we raised it about 60, from 39 to 80.
When it all shakes out here in a couple
Well,
of
it
months, we'll
includes
probably have a.
39.
Oh, that,
Yeah, that includes that.
yeah, I got you.
You're gonna need that to pay Tom.
Talk more about water.
Or drink some or something, I don't know.
Why do you think I want you to sell water back to that big development? Y'all gotta make money.
Tom, does your building have a bargain basement?
So Tom, you're saying we should allocate some of your costs to the water system?
Well, if I'm going over to talk to Winston-Salem.
We need
Do it on the way, do it on the way up.
Yeah, we done voted on the budget. You do it next.
See, you go get
I'm
John
just
all
kidding.
worked up.
Do
No,
it on the way from here.
I could have made an
back
argument,
up.
but I didn't want to. I didn't want to spool up the big man over here.
Okay.
I'm getting what
I
he
guess we
won't
need to
charge
make
us
a
for.
motion to
Yep.
approve these amendments.
Yes.
Can we do all these at once, or we need to do them all?
No.
You can do them all at
How
once.
long you want to be here tonight?
Jim
I
Rigsby
just
makes a
wanna do it
motion
right.
to,
How long he wants to be
I make a motion that we approve all the budget amendments in the general fund and water fund, water enterprise fund, as proposed by Kim Thacker.
Jim Rigsby seconds that motion.
Any discussion? Call a question. Jim?
Aye.
Derek?
Derek's eye.
Jimmy?
I'm a, Jimmy's a.
He said,
Okay. Derek, Darren?
aye.
And I.
Thank you.
Okay, consideration of renewing contract for auditing service with Rouse and Garner. And you've got a copy of a proposal. Don't talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, so roughly last year, we did vote as a council to go into, I believe, contract with Mr. Rouse. So last year was year one of that contract. This year will be year two. This paperwork is part of the process. We just need to sign the paperwork and then send it in to Mr. Rouse. When I did speak with Mr. Rouse on Tuesday, he asked about that paperwork and said that he needed to get that from us. Apparently, he needs to send that off to the local government commission, so I didn't realize that. So in my opinion, this would just need to be a vote for the mayor and the clerk and finance officer to sign any necessary paperwork and get that to Mr. Rouse.
Is this a one-year contract?
This is, my understanding is this coming year is the last year, or two-year contract.
Okay, so I was thinking it was a 2 or 3 year. Okay. So we just to vote to extend it
Yeah. no,
for this year.
The motion, I'll make a motion for Mayor Flint and Kim and Ms. Martin to sign any necessary paperwork for Rouse and Rouse to do the FY '21 fiscal audit for the town. As far as the, we've
Would it
already
be a
approved it.
2020?
2020 to 2021.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Okay. Okay. I just want,
Got a motion?
Jim
Second.
Rigsby seconds
Oh,
that.
okay, he's got it.
motion and second to approve contract for Rouse. Any discussion? Call the question. Jim?
Aye.
Derek?
Derek's aye.
Jimmy?
Jimmy's eye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I. Discussion regarding planning board terms, and I have no idea.
Short and sweet. Dale asked about Stewart Hummel, and I'm gonna make a motion that we make Stewart Hummel 2-year term, starting on the date he started, back on the planning board. That way it stays at least one. We'll talk about the rest of it later.
Okay, so that would be May 27th, 2021 is when he started.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a full alternate, I mean, a full.
He's a
member.
full member, and that'll give him 2 years, and that'll at least stagger one of them now.
Okay,
We'll
second.
later talk about.
We have a motion and a second by Derek. Any discussion? Call a question. Jim?
Aye.
Derek?
Derek's aye.
Jimmy?
Jimmy's eye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I.
Clarification,
What was the
What do you
motion?
want his term to be?
It's 2 years, just like everybody else.
From when?
Yeah,
Effective May 27th, 2021.
yep.
That was the,
Last week,
May 22nd?
27th.
27th was our planning board meeting.
2021.
Yeah, that's when he started his first time.
2 weeks.
Discussion on repairs to
Take care of one
HVAC for Stokesdale, Town Hall. Another one of those units went out, and basically they said the same thing. We could replace the coils for $35.85 or replace the system completely for $9,285. And that's actually only $110 more than the one we replaced in December. And I'm surprised we didn't have a greater price increase. So I make a motion, we approve the contract with Stokesdale Heating and Air Conditioning to replace a York heat pump on top of the building for $9,285.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Call a question, Jim?
Aye.
Derek?
Aye.
Jimmy?
Jimmy's aye.
Derek? Theron?
The other Derek, Theron, yes.
Theron,
Aye.
too.
My other brother, Derek.
Yes, my other brother.
Citizens' comments from the floor?
No, we there?
Ms. Landrith?
Good, good, real good.
All good.
I wanted to make a comment.
Closing comments?
A few weeks ago, I had a conversation with Bob with DOT. He's the district engineer. They've been doing a lot of work on 65 and 68, and I was just trying to find out what was going on in Stokesdale. You know, we had a meeting, I think it was in sometime fall of 2019, and they basically said they were going to table the 158 bypass, and that's still correct. That's on a low priority because of the change on 73. There was some discussion about improving the intersections in the town of Stokesdale, and he said, to be honest with you, I think that's been tabled, or he said, but I'm not sure. And I said, well, there was some discussion about widening 68. And he said, yeah, but I'm not sure. So we got a call from, the guy sent an email.
Brian Kettner.
Yeah. And he basically said that, yeah, Brian Kettner. They are fairly close to wanting to have a public hearing sometime about in August of this year. What they're wanting to do is widen 65 from the by right to 68, and then 68 to the winery. What they want to do, but they can't really say that publicly, and I probably shouldn't say do. They want to make that 65 a connection for the transfer trucks.
Go ahead, no.
You're fine,
Just let-
you're fine.
It's too late.
Yeah, I mean, you can say anything you want to say.
I think people have a right to know.
Well, and he's going to have the public hearing, so what he's saying is, we don't have the details yet, but, they're looking to do that, and what they want to do is, they're going to send us some information, almost like a Zoom. They'll give us a couple weeks to review it individually, the 5 of us, and then they want to start having a couple meetings with us, and we can't do but two people at a time, or we'd be in a public, open meeting violation, so we'll set them up like 2, 2, and 1. But he's probably going to do that sometime in July, and it'd be interesting to see what they got proposed. To me, 65 is a residential, and, the speed limit on that now is 35. And I think they're wanting to increase that up to about 55, and I think that would be some concerns to the people. So just to let you know, you may get something from Brian Kettner sometime in the next few weeks, maybe as late as sometime in July, but that's where it's coming from.
What is it that we could possibly affect by them talking to us before they have a public meeting? I mean, what?
Well, we can express our concerns, because that's, what he's trying to use us as a sounding board. My concern personally would be, I would hate to see them increase the speed limits on that road from 35 to 55. Depends on what they're gonna do at that intersection at my house and up at the old by right. Out and down at, are they gonna make any improvements at 68 and 65? You got 3 stoplights there within, 2 miles, less than that.
Well, I understand that, but I come in here and pitched a fit about two councils ago, back when Randy and all of them was in here about them having private meetings. When it was, concerned about, because I thought that road was coming all the way through us, gonna take everything we had. And I mean, we can't vote on anything. I wish that they could open it to the public and just come in, have a meeting and let's find out what's going on. I mean, they're not gonna make any changes just because we say so.
Oh, I think we have final say on the speed limit.
Well,
And I think we'd certainly have some input, say, well, we just
don't like doing.
It's not an easy sale for the people of Stokesdale. You're gonna get a lot of
That's
opposition.
why I'm saying I want them to know about it.
Well, let's start with conversations with us so he can pick our brain and see what we think the opposition will be. They may go back and we may suggest things that they haven't even thought of. I have no idea.
The best way to find the opposition is to get the opposition here.
Well, as soon as he has the meetings with us, then he'll have a hearing.
Well, I object to doing it that way, but I will do it, but I object to it because I just feel like you got people's lives and, they got a right to know what's going on.
Well,
That's why I don't like,
if we have a meeting, it's open to the public, right?
No, he's talking about bringing us in
Well,
two
he's
at a
talking about
time, one at a time, stuff like that.
Me and you
calling you and
meeting,
talking
and then Jim and Theron, where we'd have 3 meetings, so we'd get away from the open meeting law. And then get our comments, and then they go back, and then they, see if they want to make any changes to their proposal, and then we have a public hearing.
Tom, let me ask you a quick
I'll make
question.
myself available to talk to anybody.
In the past, if the group were to go to a big seminar or something of that type where you had several municipalities in there, we went into the statute about there will be no voting or anything in, and that allowed 5 towns and the county to be all in one place to the officials at Burr Mill type stuff. Would we be smart to do that in this case?
2 different things. I mean, you can go to a seminar, you just can't do any business. You can't discuss any business. This is gonna be business for the town of Stokesdale. So, if they wanna talk to you individually, you can agree to talk to them or not. It's up to you. And, they may want to, and I think it's just political politeness of one agency saying, hey, we're gonna look at doing something in your backyard, so we really wanna come to the head of that area first, talk to you guys, and then we'll go talk to the public.
Okay.
I think that's all that's going on.
I want to make sure we were not passing something we could up, but not violating something.
Right.
we
Well,
should.
if we're gonna do that, why would we not just go into closed session, have them come in and talk to all of us at one time, so we all got, the same,
Well, I don't know that that's
Not a
allowed
permitted
under the
purpose.
statute.
Qualified.
it's not one of the qualifiers.
I don't think so.
I mean, economic development is, isn't it?
It is.
What's the
Yeah,
difference?
but the NCDOT's not that.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess if you don't want to meet, you don't have to. I'd personally like to have some advance notice so I can study what he's proposing, so I can ask intelligent questions when we have it.
I guess I would too, but I just see it, I'm looking at it as an individual out there. It's gonna affect me, but, if they do it pretty quick and we don't have to sit on something, I just don't like it, the fact having to sit on something.
Okay.
Affect you,
Yeah, just, you're going to get an email or something from Mr. Kettner sometime in the next 6 weeks. Announcements, planning board meeting Thursday, June 24th at 7. Town council meeting July the 8th at 7. Any comments from council? Jim?
No, I have no comments.
Derek?
I just want to reiterate my position, certainly don't have anything in the world against storage units. There's a place for them in Stokesdale. Really concerned about the blanket highway business approval at the location it's in and what that may mean for the future. That area, of course, respect council's decision, and we will move onward.
Jimmy?
I don't have anything that we haven't already gone over. Thank you.
Okay. I appreciate everybody staying late at night. We had a lot to
Happy
do.
July 4th, I guess.
One last thing I guess we need to say, I thank anyone wanting to run for town council, the applications are from July 1st to maybe July 30th. We can find out and post that on the
I don't know.
website, but I think that's right. So anybody wanting to run for mayor or mayor pro tem, it's $5.
Motion to adjourn.
Huh? A motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Signify by leaving.
Get up and leave.
Standing up.
Goodbye.
So I guess
All
that
those
means,
in
Ms.
favor
Landreth,
stand.
if you want to run for council, you need to have your application in by
Did he say
July.
run for or
He's
run
already
from?
got 2 more years.
So she's the only one here, I guess that
Oh,
was.
I thought you said Jimmy.
She's gonna run from council while he's running with council.
Good night.
Who's seconding?
She's
who's
smarter than he is.
The motion.
The motion
To adjourn.
to adjourn.
Somebody admitted.
Jimmy made it.
Jimmy,
I'll second.
He did it.
whoever, Jimmy did.
Any motion,
Put me down.
all 5 of us, kind of.
We just got too much on the agenda.
Today we did, tonight, that was a biggie.
Hey, the DOT did show up
That's my
yesterday,
bedtime.
day before yesterday in front of my office.
They what?
They showed up the day before yesterday in front of my office.
Kill.
Well, his crew, they need to, there's gonna be a bad wreck right there.
Jim.
It's awful.
Jim.
I'm waiting for somebody,
Jim.
I'm waiting for, still recording.
Jim Riggs.
I'm waiting for somebody to come out of that. They're gonna get killed. But they showed up at my office